Hi, I'm Yu. I started my life as a faculty member last year, and since then, I've been exploring different approaches to teaching programming languages concepts. This talk is about my experience of teaching type systems using a Racket DSL. Type systems are a foundation of programming languages research. In our group, we run a type system seminar based on our favorite TaPL book, usually focusing on proofs, but leaving implementation as optional exercises. This year, we tried a new approach with our student Naoya. What Naoya did is to go through the easy chapters of TaPL and then implement his own type languages using Turnstile. So what is Turnstile? Turnstile is a domain-specific language that allows quick implementation of typed languages. The key idea is type systems as macros. To see what it means, let's look at how we define a typed addition in Turnstile. On the left, we have a typing rule of addition written in the familiar math style. It checks whether E1 and E2 have type int and synthesizes type int for the whole addition. On the right, we have a representation of the same rule in Turnstile. The whole rule is a typed version of defined syntax, and as you can see, the body looks exactly like the math style rule on the left. The difference is that we have expressions suffixed with a minus. These are untyped Racket expressions, which are used to define the runtime behavior of typed expressions. In this example, we simply define the behavior of typed addition using the type-erased version of the two arguments, as well as the Racket primitives for application and addition. Thus, in Turnstile, we can write typing rules just as we do on paper, and at the same time specify the runtime behavior in a very concise way. Using Turnstile, our student Naoya built a simple type and effect system for exceptions. A good thing with using Turnstile is that Naoya could use Racket's control operators to give a direct style semantics. But what's unfortunate is that Naoya had to spend a lot of time figuring out how to use macro-related primitives, and that was a somewhat painful journey. So we have two requests for both Turnstile and Racket developers. The first one is to make the documentation more accessible and informative. Naoya found that for certain primitives, such as ellipses and some Turnstile attributes, there's no self-contained explanation or sufficient examples in the documentation. The second request is to provide better error messages for macro-related errors. Macro beginners tend to use pattern variables in wrong places or confuse a syntax object with a datum. It would be helpful if we could provide some hints for these common errors. And I wonder if we can do this by adopting language labels from Dr. Racket. Once these issues are solved, I believe that Turnstile could serve as an excellent tool for learning type systems. I hope this talk will motivate the community to make Turnstile and macros more beginner-friendly, and I look forward to hearing your ideas on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to questions.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
First of all, thank you for the presentation and thank you for slogging through all of Turnstile's problems. I'm just wondering, actually, it's more of a request. When you run into a bad error message, no matter how small, feel free to open a bug report.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because any concrete bad error messages will be helpful.
I see.
And my question is, when did this student work on their project? Was it very recently or last year?
Very recently, like May and June.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we also have a question from Julia. Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah. So the question was clarification. Why in the Turnstile rule there is no type in environment gamma, like in the math representation?
So in this additional example, we don't have any typing environment, but if we define lambda, then in the premise, you will put a list of bindings on the left of the turnstile.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
All right, cool. Do we have any other questions? Oh, I haven't scrolled down far enough. Oh, no, that's already answered. Any other questions or questions I've missed?
Hello. I like the idea of teaching languages for learning macros. Do you have any ideas for what you would want in such a language or how it should look?
Can you repeat your question? I didn't hear.
Okay. Yeah, I like the language levels for learning macros idea.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any more thoughts on how that should go?
Oh, I'm not sure, and I would like to hear your thoughts.
Well, one thing that comes to mind is the teaching languages try not to give suggestions right now, just to explain what's wrong. And it sounded from the talk that you'd really liked suggestions.
Yeah, at least my students said so. Yeah.
So maybe an interactive tutorial would be the best thing.
Mm-hmm. So just walking through very simple examples.
Yeah, and with feedback tailored to the examples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be great.
We can take it offline.
Well,
Yes.
I have a follow-up question. So right now, Turnstile tries to be completely general, and so I think a lot of the problems comes from that. But do you think it would be useful to have maybe a restricted version of the language that doesn't let you implement as many things?
Yeah, I think so. It would be very helpful.
For example, if we had a restricted Turnstile that was, restricted to a very small subset of Racket, I think it would be much easier to clean up a lot of things. Do you think that would be useful?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, because my student said he had to learn too many things to use this turnstile. So yeah, if you
That's
can
not surprising.
have a small subset, that would be great.
Thank you.
Thanks.